First Mark Makers series, and I'm delighted to have Lesley Mourant joining us from England, Jersey. So the United Kingdom. You'll have to tell us where Jersey actually is, Lesley, because it's a unique opportunity to connect to the other side of the world. And just let's let people know who you are. So today we're talking about authentic leadership. I know you're a global leadership and HR expert with over 15 years experience, and you've coached leaders across the world, and in Jersey founded a group dedicated to closing the gender pay gap. So in this conversation, we are exploring what it really means to lead with authenticity, especially as a woman navigating these situations around visibility, self-doubt, leadership transitions. And I think from your background, there's enough that we could draw on, but also your own personal story is one of courage and finding that congruence. And so it's just going to be a delight to talk about these things with you. I know that this conversation will be amazing for people who are high achieving women who are ready to lead with strength, with compassion, and with truth to themselves and to others. So if that's you, then you know that leadership isn't about fitting the mold, but is more about reshaping it and reshaping it around you to some degree. So welcome, Lesley. It's great to have you here. Tell us, where is Jersey, and what's it like there where you are today?
Lovely. Thank you so much for having me, Nina. So first of all then, Jersey. Jersey is an island which is part of a collective called the Channel Islands. And whilst we are part of the UK, we are actually closer to France. So we sit in the English Channel. And as I mentioned, we are closer to France, but we are part of the UK. So we claim to be the sunniest isle in the UK. But obviously, judging from New Zealand, it's probably not that sunny in comparison, but it's a wonderful little island. It's about 103,000 people collectively. We're a big financial services centre. And it's an absolute privilege to be able to live on that island, to be honest with you.
Fantastic. I love that. It's almost a cheeky statement, isn't it? Sunniest in the UK is kind of like, well, it's relative. So
Exactly.
So in your world, where do you find yourself influencing? What does influence look like for you? What does it mean for you to be influential?
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Well, obviously, my role is predominantly as a leadership and transitions coach, but I also run a coaching practice within a wider organization. And really, in terms of, I guess, my influence, and I'd say this is probably the ethos we would come to, within our coaching, is that everybody has influence. Yeah, you can influence from wherever you stand, just like you can be a leader from wherever you are. So whether that's influencing people that I'm coaching, influencing my team, influencing my community with the things that are important to me, actually, every person, there is an opportunity to influence in some way.
Yeah, amazing. And you see that impact through the conversations, through one-on-one, through then what happens in their organizations. And we've talked about the power of listening, and that is connected to authenticity. Can you talk us through that connection? You mentioned about letting go of ego, and that there's a need to really listen today that a lot of people are not tapping into. So it'd be lovely to dig into that a little. What's been your observation?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of my own observation, and obviously I mentioned this to you last time, I really struggled with leadership for a long time. And the reason that I struggled with that is because I was trying to be like somebody else. I was trying to fit into a corporate mold. I was trying to put myself into a box. And when I really started to crack the code of leadership was when I actually started to be authentic and be myself. And you asked me about, what is good leadership? What's great leadership? And I think actually one of the superpowers there is to be able to listen and to really understand the people that are in front of you. Because if you can listen, then you can build your empathy. You can then adapt who you are to be the best person that they need at the time, whether that's making sure that they are getting the best out of themselves, whether it's getting them involved in something that you're passionate about. You can't do that without listening. You know, I think so many people have this golden dream of being part of leadership without actually realizing, well, actually, I can lead from exactly where I am. And that starts with listening and starts with letting go of what it is that I want to achieve and what it is that I want out of this, and actually really understanding what it is that somebody else wants out of that.
So interesting. So let's connect that with authenticity, because it sounds on the face of it, someone might be thinking, to be authentic, I need to be myself. But now we're talking about listening and adapting to the other person. So how do
Yeah.
those things fit together in your mind?
Okay. So you're right. Authenticity is about knowing yourself and being able to be yourself too. But obviously, in leadership, you know, especially if you are aspiring to be a leader who has people, you know, you're responsible for people, there has to be a degree of really tuning in to other people. And where the connection is that, again, I think a lot of people seek out perfection. You see leadership on this pedestal, you see people in top positions, and you think, oh my gosh, they must be able to do and have everything. When the reality is they don't. Okay. We might give the illusion that we do, but we absolutely don't. And it's about really understanding, and this is where the authenticity comes in. It's about understanding what my superpowers are and being able to show up with those superpowers, and then being able to let my teammate do the things that maybe not so good at. So actually, again, it's that situational piece of, okay, actually here, I'm really good at being the hand holder. I'm really good at making people feel nice. So I'm going to step in this time. But when I need somebody to perhaps be more explicit with the direction that we want to go in, I might bring somebody else in to do that.
Yeah, amazing. So that awareness of what's me, what's them, what are
Mm,
they good at, what
yeah.
am I good at, what's right for the moment and for this situation. And
Mm,
it'd be lovely to dig in a little as well into this feeling that people have where they feel like the elevator doors are going to open and someone is going to find them out and take them away because they're really actually not meant to be here. I 100%
mm,
relate to that. I think that was my first manager job. I really thought literally that was going to happen. And I've heard other people say the same thing. So we call that imposter syndrome.
yeah.
What's your advice to people around overcoming that? Because I imagine that's a big block to really
Yeah.
connecting with yourself and being authentic as a leader.
Yeah, brilliant. So this is such a big subject, and I think, you know, there's lots of things that build up this imposter syndrome, whether it's, you know, the environments that we've grown up with, our cultures, you know, what our beliefs are, what our values are. Um, a couple of things that I would say to be able to sort of shape that is, first of all, you really need to take a hard look at yourself and create some acceptance around who you are. Yeah. So who am I in this moment? And stop comparing people as well, because we only see small snippets of individuals. We don't really truly know what's going on, what support systems other people have, what their real beliefs are, etc. So there's acceptance, there's not comparing. And then there's also the self-soothing in terms of, most of us carry around multiple inner critics. Yeah. What are our inner critics trying to do? Well, they're trying to keep us safe. As human beings, we like to be safe, we like to be comfortable. And we absolutely have the power within us to turn around to our critics and say, hey, buddy, I know you're scared. You're worried I'm going to look really stupid when I start being interviewed in a moment. But actually, I know my stuff. I know my stuff. And this is going to be great. It's going to be fun. And the worst thing that's going to happen is it's going to be a bit cringy and everybody's going to forget about it 5 minutes later. So being able to really soothe those inner critics and not trying to ignore them, because actually when we ignore them, we know that the noise just gets louder, it gets harder, and actually it then can become a real barrier to what we're trying to achieve.
I love that. And that idea, I came across this idea from Layla Hormozi, where she talks about putting fear in her handbag. So she's not necessarily discounting it. She's actually saying, that's part of how I am right now.
Yeah.
And I accept that, I acknowledge that for this situation, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do the thing. And, you know, so it's really, like you say, that acceptance of self and all the beautiful work we can do there. And then in the moment, thinking, I'm just going to take the step anyway. So good. So let's, you know, final question for you around transitions. And so we talked about people in leadership. Often in that shift to leadership, there's a way of being that people are kind of transitioning into. And then there's all these other life transitions where, especially as women, where, you know, we're on a journey of change. If you look at life, there's just so many quite significant and quite personal changes that many women experience. And you're helping people to see the beauty in that. And so tell us, why is that important to you? And how did you, you know, realize that transitions were really beautiful and important?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So I personally have gone through multiple transitions in my life already. And I think many of us grow up with the belief that life is on this linear path, you know, that we're going to go to school, we're going to get an education, we're then going to go to college, we'll get a degree, we'll get our first jobs, we might get married, we might have children. And it's this constant progression. It's going to go in this lovely straight line, and then we're just going to get to the top, and then we're probably going to decline. You know, we're going to retire. We're just going to watch ourselves get old. Life isn't like that. Life, you know, first of all, and I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm so sorry. But I was reading some research recently that said that actually adults in their adult life are expected to go through, on average, a transition every 18 months. Now, if we are to go through these transitions, then why are we being sold the story that actually we're going to have this beautiful linear path? Because it makes it harder. Whereas actually, if we know that transitions are just a part of life, then we can really focus on actually our character, who we are, and what we want to take from that moment, and use it as a lesson, use it as learning, use it as just a process and a tool to be able to continue to build that type of life that we want to live. So that's why I'm really passionate about it, because, like I said, I've gone through many, and I think after each transition, I've seen the beauty and the growth in what I've gone through. But I have to say that it's only recently now that I realized that actually transitions really are part of life. You know, this isn't a woe is me. This isn't a, oh, another thing is happening. So it's just about really embracing it and being able to go through that.
Rather than each time thinking again, oh no, something's wrong. I'm having to, you know, I've got this big change transition I'm having to deal with that I wasn't expecting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so you have a freebie, you've got a gift for people, and it's a worksheet designed to help people pause and reflect and reconnect with what's authentic to them. It's grounded in research, and it offers gentle prompts to help people build self-awareness, acceptance, and alignment, one small step at a time. So that sounds amazing. How can people get that? I know that you're offering that as a gift today. So
yes, I am. I'm offering it as a gift today. It wouldn't be me. Again, it wouldn't be authentic if I didn't give something that was very coach-like. So it's something for you to reflect on, and really just a couple of question prompts to really think about where you are in your life and actually how you're showing up in your leadership. And what I'm going to do is, after this discussion today, I'm going to publish it on my LinkedIn. So if you want to give me a follow, get in touch with me, I will also share the link, and then, you know, people will have access to that.
Brilliant, brilliant. And thank you to Heather as well in the chat, who mentioned that the stream was freezing up. I hope that it has cleaned up since then, and that the recording gives you good access to the stream. So amazing. Thank you, Lesley, so much for what you shared and for people being able to access your insights around this. And so how can they contact you? How can people find you?
Okay, brilliant. So the best place to contact me and get in touch with me is on LinkedIn. I'm an avid poster. Once you're in my LinkedIn, you'll be part of my world. That world includes motherhood. You will see part of my journey going through that as a career woman as well. So yeah, get in touch with me via LinkedIn, and we can stay in contact, and I can continue to share what I know.
Amazing. So great. And I wanted to leave us with a quote from Brené Brown. She says that authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are, which is just so inspiring and magical. So thanks for joining us. Thanks everyone for your involvement, your participation, and you can catch this on the recorded link. So we'll be live here for whoever wants to access it if you've missed us today. Thanks, Lesley.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Nina.
See you.